Let's talk about jealousy. More specifically, the jealousy we experience when we are succeeding and those who are closest to us, those we love most, the family members, the friends, the colleagues, the co-workers, the peers, bestie, babe, boo. Those individuals who are closest to us begin to see us succeed and they begin to feel some type of way. Let's talk about that specific jealousy and envy. Now, before we dig into that, let's define what jealousy and envy actually are. Now, most of us confuse the two because they are close cousins, real close cousins. As a matter of fact, they're first cousins. However, they are not one and the same thing. So jealousy on one side is I see what you have and I wish you didn't have it. Whereas envy is I see what you have and I want that thing. And more specifically, I want that thing from you, as opposed to I want to go get it for myself, which may be motivation or inspiration, right? Envy is I want the thing that you have. Example, if somebody's in a beautiful relationship and you see a woman who's just all that, got all the characteristics, the attributes that you desire, and you say, I want that woman, that's envy. As opposed to, I desire the relationship they have, let me go get it for myself with somebody who's suited for me. That right there is, I would say, motivation. Now, when we experience envy and jealousy from those closest to us, it can be the most heartbreaking, the most heart-wrenching experience in life, right? You want those who are around you to be the most supportive. You want them to be there in your successes. You want to share in your success with those who are around you. You want your mama to be there, your daddy to be there, aunties, uncles, sisters, cousins, your best friends, etc. You want them all to revel in the wins that you have. And so you go to those people and you tell them of the things that you're doing and you tell them of the successes that you're having, whether they be micro successes or those large wins that you've been working towards over time. And yet, in more cases than not, we are met with not only resistance, but we are met with envy and we are met with jealousy. We are met with that experience of I wish they didn't have that, or I wish I had what they have. I want what they have. And this happens in a lot of cases when it comes to finances. It happens in most cases when it comes to career advancement or relationships, more specifically, intimate relationships. Now, I do want to make this clear. When we find ourselves in these types of situations, we have to make sure to first and foremost come from a place of understanding, of empathy. And I'm not saying empathy as far as, pat them on the back, oh, poor you. No, I mean, just simply having some insight as to why they are jealous in the first place or envious in the first place. And for me, what helped me most was realizing that when I was envious or jealous around or of those who are around me, it came from a place of insecurity. I felt as if I did not have enough or I lacked or I didn't have what it took to get a certain thing. So I simply wish somebody else didn't have it. It was rubbing me the wrong way. It was poking at my insecurity. It had nothing to do with them. And so when we can start to understand where it's coming from, then we can truly start to have a solution-oriented mindset as opposed to becoming jaded, bitter, and resentful towards these people. Because it's easy, right? If somebody is consistently looking at you with what they call the evil eye, you think to yourself, man, I'm going, F them. Forget that person. And now they're occupying more and more of your mental space, right? Somebody's in your comment section leaving all kinds of mean comments, hating on you. You can start to absorb those and allow that to draw from your energy resource. And I found myself in that place a multitude of times when I started growing on Instagram per se, right? I started growing from around 10K to 15 to 20, and I started seeing more and more engagement, more comments, to a point where I'm now getting, stream of comments, and there'll be 50 positive comments under a video, yet those 2 comments where the haters are saying something that is, against my greatest good, that hurts. And in a lot of cases, I used to take that personally and take it upon me and hold on to them, and they would take away from the 50 other positive comments that were right there, readily available. And so I truly had to start doing the work as to first understanding why I felt that way, right? And also why they were projecting that insecurity and envy onto me, right? And when I started, again, relating to it as far as, man, I've felt that before. I felt like a hater. I might have not been the type of hater who's going to leave a comment under something, but I sure have felt, envy towards somebody who might have had more money or, seemed to have more quote unquote success and prosperity. Those who are going on all kinds of trips and doing all kinds of things. I've definitely been in a place before where I felt that way. Like, I'm no longer in that place because I realized that all of that is just inspiration to show me that this is possible for me. But before I had this type of introspection, I definitely have felt that. And so me coming from that place, I'm able to kind of create a distance emotionally from why they're doing what they're doing and stop personalizing it. It's not about me, right? Anybody in their life who is close to them in the same respect, they will feel that envy or jealousy for if they're doing better than them. You might have heard this quote, people want you to do great or amazing, but never better than them. And that's the case for a lot of people. Now, there are a subgroup of individuals on this planet who genuinely want you to do the very best that you can, and they're inspired by it. And I've become one of those individuals by intention, right? By consciously stripping away my insecurities, constantly doing the shadow work, going within, and getting to the bottom of why I felt some type of way about other success in the first place. So that's number one. Now, number two is the quote unquote external action item. And this has to come second, which is creating those necessary boundaries with these individuals. Now, some of them might be so close that we feel that we cannot necessarily remove them from our lives. And it's not always necessary to remove everybody from your life, right? If you just remove everybody who triggered you in your life, you'll be left with nobody. Those triggers oftentimes come from the wounds that we have. If not every time, comes from some wound that we have, right? How somebody makes us feel is a byproduct of something that's going on within us. Now, we can make the decision of, is this person deserve to be in my life? Does this person deserve to have any space within my journey? Or is it to the left, everything you own in a box? To the left. Hopefully there's no copyright infringement on that one, but I just had to use it because that's a bar. So when we're creating these boundaries, I always say there's two types of boundaries we're creating, or two places we're coming from when we're creating a boundary. There's an unhealthy boundary and a healthy boundary. Now, I say this not as a good or bad thing, simply one where we usually start and where we aspire to go towards. Now, an unhealthy boundary is when we are bitter, we're angry, we're resentful, right? It's get out my space, or I got to get out your space. And I do it from a place of anger. I do it from a place of wrath, of fury. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? That's the attitude. That's the mentality. But we want to find ourselves getting to a place of creating boundaries from a place of self-respect, right? Instead of having that boundary set in a place of bitterness and resentment, we want to evolve. We want to grow towards creating boundaries out of self-respect. I respect me too much to have this type of individual within my ecosystem. Therefore, I'm going to separate myself. I'm going to do the healing that's necessary, the introspection that's necessary, right? See what it is within me that allowed me to keep that person in my life, to keep that person as being one who I entertained in a relationship, in a friendship, even in a family type of dynamic, right? What made me hang on to that for so long and continue to feed into that? I start doing the work of where did that come from, and I heal from that, and I let that situation go. Now, if you feel that it's not necessary to completely let somebody go, which is in most cases the fact, then you simply tell the people around you, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm on. I would appreciate support or silence, right? Depending on whichever one that you desire. It's not saying people need to walk on eggshells around you, right? It's not forcing people into action. And frankly, you can't push them into anything anyway. So you're just voicing yourself and saying, look, I don't appreciate the things that you're saying to me. However, in my life, I'm supportive of those successes around me. Therefore, I would appreciate the very same for me. Now, if you're going to continue to downplay my success, or you're going to continue to ridicule me or, project your insecurities onto me, I might have to create some distance between us. And you don't have to say it in that exact way, depending on the type of individual you're talking to, but just let it be known how you truly feel about the situation and create the boundary. Let them know what your specific boundary is. And everybody is going to look different. There's a different reason why you want to create the boundary for yourself, as far as, why you don't want that type of communication. If it's in an intimate relationship, let your partner know, listen, I do not appreciate, this type of energy when I'm trying to share my successes with you. I would appreciate support. And, instead of running out and trying to find somebody else while you're in the relationship, in some cases you might just have to face, am I willing to be in the type of relationship with the person who is still dealing with their insecurities and hasn't done the work, or is not willing to do the work, or still going through the work? That's your decision. And that is a personalized decision. Nobody can make that for you. However, we have to start learning to verbalize what we're going through, our experiences, not to hold on to them, but just to let them be known, right? And again, if that person continues to push that boundary, if they just can't help themselves because they're so deeply insecure, then we start to create more and more distance for ourselves. And I promise you, the more self-respect you have for you, the more you'll start to attract individuals into your life circumstance who reflect that self-respect. People who are going to support you and encourage you. When I stopped focusing more on those haters, I really started getting more and more support, right? Like, I know I told you about, the 2 comments out of the 52 that I might have looked at, but When I started truly healing, I started getting more and more support from people outside the household. And then the people in my household really started seeing what I was doing and started supporting me and wanting to support me. Right? It's funny how everybody wants to jump on when you're successful, but what's really happening is energetically, you're believing in yourself so much that the entire universe has to collapse into that belief system and back you in whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're somebody who is currently in this specific state and you're looking to overcome that animosity, that resentment, that bitterness that you have towards others, and you're looking to cultivate that self-esteem, that self-worth, that self-respect that is necessary, and the ability to self-validate yourself, make sure to book an appointment with me, a one-on-one consultation where we will break through these barriers, see if you are fit for my program, and if you are, we'll make sure to enroll you, and we're going to really get to the bottom of this and make sure you get out on the other side in absolute perfect personal power. I appreciate you. Love you guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if this was of value. If you watched this far, it definitely was. So make sure to subscribe. Click the notification bell just to keep you updated. We do these every single day. I'm making a commitment to say every day I'm showing up for y'all. Every day I'm showing up for me. Every day I'm showing up for you. Right? So I do my part and y'all do what y'all got to do. Appreciate you. Peace.